Sweet pumpkin with a very straight posture. Every week I get asked this question, and it's a very critical question, and it's probably one of the most important videos you're going to have to watch. Every week I get asked, how does crypto get sustainable value? How does anything go up and stay up? What is the answer? Is it the tech? Is it the supply? What is it? The answer is long-term buyers. That's it. You need long-term buyers to come in and take the supply off the market, right? You need them to grab the coins and say, I am not going to exit for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. That's how everybody wins. Their cash rewards current holders of the coin because these people take it off the market for 5 to 10 years. Look at this cute Peppy with the bull. I like this little bull suit. I also like and appreciate you. Make sure you press that belly button, subscribe, and shock that algorithm, friends. Let's continue. I have a nice canvas here for you, so I'm going to show you exactly what happens. So if you have a coin, okay, you have a coin, right? It's paired with, say, Ethereum or USDC in the pool. Okay, so let's just use USD so it's easier because everything's got a price, right? So you just have a coin, okay? Let's just call it a fluffy coin. Let's go, yay, we got a fluffy coin. All right. You're going to now have a liquidity in here. And the liquidity pair is going to be fluffy and then USD right here. We can actually write USDC so we can look at it on Uniswap. And funny enough, I went to Uniswap and there is already a fluffy coin. I'm sure there's thousands of them out there. So there are all these people who say hold the coin because they believe in fluffy slippers. They want to participate in the long-term potential of fluffy slippers. Whatever it is that you think it is. Is it a roadmap? Is it a founder and a leader? Is it just people coming in? Do they have core beliefs, right? For example, Bitcoin, fix the money, fix the world. We believe we're going to flip the US dollar. You have that. What about Ethereum? Decentralized smart contract platform for the world. What about BNB? You're like, oh, I believe CZ is not going to go to jail, and I think Binance is going to continue being a great operating exchange. All these examples, right? For example, we got Hex, Pulse Chain, and PulseX. I believe, say, Richard Hart's principles are going to propagate throughout the ecosystem. There are many others. Everybody's got their own reasons. That's why our job is to figure out what are the real long-term reasons. And so don't forget, right, there are people, okay, there are people inside the ecosystem, okay? There's just going to be different people here, and they all hold the coin, right? So everybody, on average, is a short-term trader. So there's 5 people here. Assume they are all short-term traders by default. I know it sounds crazy, right? Like, oh, what happens to the long-term buyers? But don't worry about that. So every coin, Ethereum, Bitcoin, everybody is technically a short-term trader. Why? You assume they start from today and they just launched because they haven't even proved themselves to be a long-term buyer yet. So these 5 people, they're just basically trading amongst themselves, okay? They're just in this little pile of poop. They're like, oh, let's buy and let's sell, up and down, up and down. So the coin doesn't actually go anywhere. So the coin chart will just go up and down. That's what you'll see. Natural buyers, natural sellers, sign buying and selling. Nothing comes in, all right? So that's why you have, for example, a chart that'll just like zip around and start. Now, where does it get interesting? It gets interesting when, let's say a whale comes in, right? A whale who also has a bit of a peanut brain. So the whale comes in, Mr. Whale comes in, and this is how you actually get long-term value. You see this natural buying and selling right here, this zippity-doo-dah part? There's no value getting added. It's people stealing money off each other, okay? They're buying and they're selling, they're buying, they're selling, and they're just losing to the market maker. Remember, maybe there's 4 people here trading, and 1 person here is just like providing liquidity. So they're just rotating money around, that's all. But then this dude comes in, Mr. Peanut Brain, who's also a whale. He comes in, and what he does is he grabs these coins and he goes, you know what? I don't want to sell. See all these people here? They have a plan to sell in a minute, in 5 minutes, an hour, a day, a week. But Mr. Whale says, I don't actually want to sell for like 3 years. All right, 2023. I don't actually want to sell until 2026. I believe, so it doesn't even matter what the reason is, right? But they are important. But, you know, they could say, well, you know, I believe in the founder, want a new vision. There's thousands of examples. So they come in and then Mr. Whale smacks it up, okay? So Mr. Whale accumulating just like brings up the natural price up here, all right? That's it. Now, Mr. Whale you can think of Mr. Whale. Mr. Whale could also be 10 people. It could be 10 people with a long-term mindset. But I've just used one to simplify it here for you. So you see these 5 people, these copers, but guess what? They're still here. They're still trading amongst themselves. Okay? They're still here. Now, what's beautiful is you can actually see in the Hex chart, you can actually see God Whale coming, and he did this. So this is the price of Hex at the start. And like, this might have been him. He just like doubled the price in a day. Bang. You see these candles? This is long-term people. Now, whether you say, oh, it's Richard Hart, or it's Greg, or it's someone else, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter who it is. All that matters is that this happens. Okay? You're not going to figure it out all the time, but you got to believe. That's what it comes down to. Do you have the belief that there will be people coming in with a long-term vision in whatever it is you're holding? You know, is it a stock? Is it gold, silver, Johnson & Johnson shares? Is it Bitcoin, Ethereum? They all require this. Without the long-term buyer mindset, nothing trends up. And I mean nothing. Trends up and stays up. You do not ever get a higher floor. So remember, we've now drawn this new line. Now we're in a higher base. All these people are now gambling. And, you know, you still have the market maker here. So these people are now gambling. Guess what? The range is up here now. They're buying and they're selling. They're buying and they're selling. And then, of course, you know, what happens later on is, surprise, surprise, maybe you have another whale coming in, but this whale likes eating bananas, just like a different flavor. It's like, you know, this original whale, this peanut brain, he just likes the logo, you know. But I like the community, you know, just whatever reason it is. It's like I like something else different. And what happens is this long-term buyer comes in and now it's up higher. And guess what? These people still gambling, still day trading. What are they doing? They're like, do. You see that? But you look at the net effect. The net effect was that whale coming in. Now, I've got to remind you, you don't exactly need one person to do this. This is the cumulative effect of people coming in with long-term mindsets. Theoretically, you could have, you know, all these traders, all right? If these traders like all agreed, they go, you know, we're trading this coin, but there's a part of this coin I never want to sell. I want to keep a permanent moon bag. And they might all say, well, I'm just going to keep 10%. So 10% I'm going to lock away. I'm never going to sell. I'm never going to sell these fluffy coins. And what ends up happening is the coin will eventually go up. Eventually, you know, if you keep getting more people coming in. So don't forget, right? The chart shows it going up. But what do these people actually do? What did the big whales, what did the long-term mindset people do? What they did is they grabbed USD, all right, their own money, right, and they put it into a pool. Now, the other coin's going to be fluffy because that's what the coin is, right? So you're going to have fluffy is going to be a little bunny. Nice little bunny. Here we go. So, you know, this ratio in Uniswap, that's what they've done. So there are tokens sitting on the offer in Uniswap. And what this whale did, he came in and he says, you know, I'm going to go place it in this pool. And when he did that, that's what gave you this price. See this price? That's what gave you the price shift. And then this whale comes, that whale also puts in money as well. And that's what gives you this price coming up permanently. So they've taken fluffy outside of the market and they've grabbed it for themselves. They've grabbed it permanently for themselves. So if you want their fluffy, you basically never get it. Now, of course, this is the game. The game is trying to figure out, hey, what are the chances that these people never put the fluffy out? Now, this is insanely difficult to ever calculate. It's not even worth calculating. That's why you really got to take the peanut brain approach. You got to think, okay, do you like the community? Is there a cult? That's why I look for these things like a cult, friends, because, look, Hex is the best example there is. It's more than just the price chart. There are people, YouTube channels. We have the pulsetube.com. These are all these faces here, okay? All these faces says, yes, yours truly here again, still up here. So these are all faces, voices, branding. This is just people in the ecosystem. What are the likelihood that, you know, for example, Mr. Silvertooth here, what's the chances? I know Mr. Silvertooth, I hope he's out there, but what's the chances Mr. Silvertooth comes back and renames to like Litecoin Tooth? You know what I mean? What if he just like comes back to Litecoin, you know? Or what about, for example, Mr. Gold Key comes out and says, you know what, guys, I'm actually a vegan XRP lover and I'm going to be Stellar Key. I'm not going to be Gold Key. I'm going to be Stellar Key, you know, like Stellar. So what about Hex Fan Network. Do you think they're going to rename to like XRP Fan Network? Okay. This is qualitative information. Now, the biggest, best investors or investees, depending if you got pants on or not, they're going to be able to calculate in their head the trend that's most correct, better than the average person. Now, who are these people? We don't know. All right, we don't know. You can only look to the stars and hope that we are one of those people's friends. That's why I'm here to share with you my approach to doing this. And this is, so what I've told you here, this isn't guesswork. This is 100% fact. You do not get a coin going up without long-term believers. You need someone to come in to believe. Now, it doesn't take a genius to figure out. Do you ever wonder why Hex started smashing up at the start? It's because Richard Hart, for example, he knew, all right, I want to put my balls where my mouth is and put it also on the line at the same time. I want to demonstrate to the market that Hex is scarce. So all that Hex sitting on the Uniswap pool, I'm swiping it for myself. And guess what? You're never going to see that ever for as long as you live. And maybe he did that. Maybe that's why the price went up. Now, do we have any proof? Do we have evidence? No, but that's exactly, for example, what I will do. And this is exactly what you want. You know, people say like, oh, it's manipulation. No, it's not. No, it's not. That's like Elon using his own money to go and buy Tesla cars. Wouldn't you want that? Do you want Elon going and buying Toyota Corollas, or do you want him to buy his own Tesla cars? Okay. This is some way. There's another way to think about it. This is exactly what we want. But we do hold everything to a very high standard. Why? Because this is the Bitcoin chart. And lady, gentleman, Bitcoin coin was very strong at the start. It was very strong and pumped up. Why? Well, I explained to you. There was nobody in the network. It was like one person, Satoshi, and then it went to 10, 100,000, 10,000, okay? It was very small, and it birthed an industry. And there was an insatiable demand and a hunger for people to transfer value on the internet. It just so happened the vehicle here was Bitcoin and couldn't be stopped because it was censorship resistant, and it was completely, obviously, decentralized as much as we've ever seen at that point in time. Now, that's why it was so important. People think, oh, it was the code and the halvening. No, it wasn't. There was a demand. People wanted to own their own things. Here came Bitcoin that allowed everybody to do it, and it was done right at the start, and it was done correct. It was done fully decentralized, and people just ran with it. They wanted it. Now, people obviously started to incorrectly assume, luckily you watch my videos, friends, they started to think that it was the decentralization that made it go up. No, it wasn't. It was just that there was a pocket of 1 million people out there who wanted to participate, but they had no vehicle. And then Bitcoin comes in and smack. It goes from 1,000 up to 1 million people, and that's how you have the parabolic price pop. Now, Bitcoin went up. Why? Long-term believers. That's it. It's not the halvening. It's not the miners. It's none of that. The only way anything goes up is if somebody buys the supply today and locks it up and distributes it in the future. If they don't buy enough today and hold for 5 years, but if they buy heaps today and they sell in like 5 months, you're going to get the wreck chart that never recovers. So you always need long-term believers. You need people to believe in something long-term. Actually, that belief is what keeps everything going. And you know who knows this? The US government, okay? The US government and the US Fed, they know this. They know that to keep the Ponzi going, you got to print more currency. They inflate at 5% per year. They do what they can to keep the sanctity of the US dollar, and it re-rounds to the biggest up-only wealth-generating Ponzi of all time. But they say wealth generation. I mean, I say that's tongue-in-cheek because they're printing 5% per year, and the stock market's giving you like 8% per year. So all you're getting is like about 3% real value per year. But hey, that's the best thing we've ever been able to create before crypto and all of these, right? So this is monumental that it can happen. So that's how we actually make money. I get asked this all the time. You learn something today. You go, okay, the only way for you to make money is people to take supply off the market. So there are baby boomers who are dumping right now. They are retiring, okay? And you're like, okay, who are they dumping on? They're dumping on people coming in, turning 18, turning 21. They are DCA buying. So when you DCA buy, what are you doing? You're taking the supply out until you retire for the next 40 years. So the buys of today become the sells in like 30, 40 years from now when they eventually retire. But of course, you need ever-growing money to keep this going. That's why it's super important we understand this. And that's why also in crypto, we know that this game happens. Crypto is super volatile. There's no one to back it up. But on the plus side, if somebody does create something where people will hold longer than that very short term, which is what the average retailer does and gets wrecked, if you're able to do that, that's why we get the tremendous upside in crypto. That's actually the network effect. That's why you have 200 million people in Bitcoin today. Think about that. That wasn't government intervention, okay? Bitcoin started with one person, Satoshi. It had 100 people, then 1,000 people in the network. It grew from 1,000 people to 200 million people. What are all those people holding out for? Well, now we've got to figure out. That's why I believe deep in my loins and my pointy elbows, a lot of the people who've come in need $100,000 Bitcoin. Okay, that's why I think if it doesn't get there and Roca Negra scams everybody, and that's the weak point, I think there's going to be immense turmoil on a big collapse if we get it and we roll over and we round trip. And I reckon everybody's going to start to believe, oh my gosh, why am I even in this in the first place? I was in this for price go up, but guess what? Its price isn't going up, but all the people who are in the centralized garbage coins, this is Bitcoin Max is talking, they'll be like, oh my God, they embarrassed us. And they have to start using further and further like historical charts. So there you go, friends. The job is to figure out what is the mindset of the average buyer. Are there long-term mindset people coming in? Okay, and don't forget, it's not just utility. Why? Because you can always copy-paste it. You understand? You can copy-paste electrons and code on the internet. So for example, money markets and all this stuff, go, you know what? Uniswap can go copy-paste your money market in 5 seconds. It's going to take more money than any of your crappy little liquidity protocols, okay? So it's all about the network effect. That's the most important. Also, what's most important is our friendship. Make sure you like, subscribe, belly button and all. Me and you, just little peanut brains trying to make it in this cruel, dark world. Catch you in the next one.